making headlines at the moment with COVID. Another case in the Springboks squad reports of cases potentially at the Bulls as well. I just wonder if you've heard about this and if it's had any impact on the move around the camp.
No, look, obviously there's nothing to confirm in around, but so there's lots of speculation around, but it hasn't affected the mood in the camp. The boys trained well this morning, and then we just gearing up for tomorrow night.
No distraction whatsoever. How do you ensure that's the case?
Oh, look, I think it's a focus on us getting better and improving and building on the last couple of performances. And I think there's will be a couple more people making their debuts for the Lions tomorrow. So it's just exciting times and just focusing really on ourselves and getting better and spending time with each other.
Is it a reminder though of just how careful you need to be? And have you talked about that in terms of, it could just be one mistake and the whole tour's in jeopardy?
Oh, definitely. I think it's something we're constantly reminded and trying to take no risk in around what we're doing. Obviously, we tested 3-4 times a week, and everything's sanitized, and everyone's on their best behaviour around that because no one wants to jeopardise this tour in any way, shape, or form.
And as far as you know, is the Springbok bubble as tight as yours?
I don't know. I've been in that bubble, so the only thing I can comment on is how our boys are behaving and doing things. So, and we're doing the best we can do. Obviously, it's tough within COVID restrictions, but we've come here to do a job, and we don't want to leave anything get in the way of that.
And turning to the rugby on the field, looking at the Sharks game, are you expecting tougher resistance compared to the weekend?
Yeah, I think they've got a young team. I think that the way they play, just looking from a defensive point of view, that they're a little bit more expansive. They've got some real lively players in the back three. The good ball carrying number 8. So we know there's real ambition the way the Sharks want to play. So we're going to have to be moving up the levels and around what we're doing.
And 2 games into this tour, to what extent are test places still up for grabs? Is it still a blank sheet of paper?
Yeah, I think so, and I think there's another game obviously tomorrow night, and where people can put forward their cases to play. The training standard is outstanding with the competition within the players, but there's still that help and making sure we're all on the same page. So I think it's really open for those test spots even now.
And finally from me, Tom Curry set to make his debut, came into the camp with a bit of an issue, a bit of an injury. He's fully fit then, and how excited are you looking to see what he can do? It's stiff competition in the back row, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty tough, and that's why I think the test spots are going to be heatedly debated and contested. And bringing someone like Tom in now, he's outstanding to watch in training. Obviously, as a coach, just looking at him from afar for a long period of time, getting to work with him up closely has been really exciting and great to see. But as is all the other back row and all the other players. But I think it'll be outstanding to see him and Josh and Sam starting tomorrow night.
Thank you.
Steve, as you were getting on the plane in Edinburgh, 10 days or so ago, there were some suggestions that maybe the majority of games could get moved to Cape Town. Are you aware that is still on the table, or is that now off the table? And do maybe cases like we've seen in the last 24 hours bring that back into attention?
Look, I think there'll be other people will be talking and dealing with that, and generally it's just trying to focus on day to day and getting the players and making sure our standards and what we can control. And if we end up in Cape Town, we'll deal with that. If we've got to come back to Johannesburg, we're fully prepared for whatever happens.
Can I ask you a hypothetical one? Because I don't know if this is actually logistically possible with the COVID situation, but if South Africa-Georgia on Friday evening was called off, and if the Bulls were unable to field a team against you on Saturday, would it be hypothetically possible for the Lions to play Georgia, or is that not possible with COVID protocols?
I think when you're talking hypotheticals, I think anything's possible through COVID. I think we've seen that. So for me, I think anything, if there's any opportunity for games called off to play a game, then that'll be great for us and for whoever else is looking for a game.
On the rugby side of things, how do you think the defensive side has gone so far? And are you concerned that you've not really been put under serious duress?
I think the Japanese game put us under real duress. If I'm honest, I think the way that they played footy was outstanding, and I think we learnt a lot from that game. Considering we've only been together 2 weeks, but I thought the building blocks going into the Lions game. You'd always like more and be stressed out, but I thought on a goal line we were there for about 9 minutes in total with stoppages. I thought the boys come under a bit of siege, and we come through that period, and also the training standard has been outstanding. You're getting asked questions by a different international team when we are preparing, so we feel we're getting lots of questions asked, and I fully believe the boys are really getting to grips with the system and how we want to work.
Since the team was named, there's been a lot of excitement about that back row with Josh, Tom and Sam. I mean, as flankers, Josh and Tom, as a double act, they give you a very different look and very different opportunities during the game, don't they?
Yeah, they do. They're unbelievably robust and at both sides of the ball. I think they're fantastic players. And you look at, in fairness, the standard of this group, I think whoever puts on that shirt, they've got so many different strengths and qualities. This does have a slightly different look to it, but I'm excited and expecting big performances from those back rowers.
Just finally from me, can you just maybe give us an update in terms of bumps and bruises of who is and isn't training at the moment, and what's maybe the situation with Robbie Henshaw?
Yeah, Robbie's tracking really well. He was doing a little bit of running today, so he's looking good. And then just Hoggy's carrying a little bit of a dead leg going into the game tomorrow, so we'll probably make a decision on that tomorrow morning and see how he pulls up.
Thank you.
No problem.
I see you guys going. Can I just ask you who's kind of emerging as the defensive leaders in the squad? Have you appointed people in that kind of role?
No, I haven't. I did think about it at the start of the tour. Conversations of having leaders, but in fairness, we've got an abundance of them, and I think what I've really enjoyed is, and through COVID, you get more time to spend with them, so you have lots of small conversations, and like people come to the forefront of it, and obviously changing the team frequently now, different people have got opportunities to shine, but I think everyone's got a real energy about it and striking up lots of conversations, lots of detail, lots of learning, lots of how we can improve going from game to game. So I'm probably not really answering your question, as we've got leaders right across the board.
Yeah, we've seen lots of choke tackling so far. Is that something that's been tactical, or is that just players making decisions in game?
Yeah, look, I think that there's a little bit of tactic in around how we go about it, and in around the assistant tackling and things. But in fairness, you look at the strengths within the Lions group, they've all got unbelievable strengths, whether it be over ball, up top. You see Robbie is strong up top, and you look at Duan, he's holding up, but then you've got people who can blast past the rucks. It's just trying to framework something that they can really express themselves in and around those contact areas.
Lastly, can I just ask, do you have how do you review defensive players? Do you have a ranking system, a leaderboard, things that guys can be competitive about?
It's obviously we've got our own sort of formats and own coding systems and what we look at, so all the boys can see everyone's scores or tackle ratios or what we're looking for within our system. So all that's there and there, so they can be competitive. But I think every day you see them working on what we need to, and pushing each other on, critiquing each other, and driving those standards. So it's very competitive, because ultimately everyone wants to put their best foot forward, because there's 3 huge test matches coming up at the end of the month.
Must have had a contingency plan if one of the warm-up games was postponed for whatever reason. Can you elaborate what that would involve? Would it be a 15-a-side match internally?
Look, I think it'll depend on what point of the tour we're at, whether it's coming on recovery day. I think we'll weigh up whether we feel we need maybe give the boys an extra day off, or whether we feel we need that internal sort of match, or maybe a heavier loaded contact day. So like as coaches, we talk about it, but I think through COVID, what you learn, you have to adapt, and I think you can have the best laid plans to do things, but things move really quickly and things can change super quickly. So I think it's just being prepared for whatever comes our way at whatever period of time, and also just see where the group are, whether they need sort of, like I said, more contact time. Is it the fact of, well, we can give them an extra day off so they can recover? So we'll just adapt as we go along.
So in this particular eventuality that the Bulls game goes, do you know what the plan would be for the weekend? How you feel your weekend?
Yeah, we haven't confirmed anything. We spoke about it because obviously we'll travel down to Cape Town over the weekend. So we'd probably maybe give an extra day off, a potential, maybe train a little bit harder on the Friday. But again, that would be something we'd confirm up when we get confirmation around what will happen.
Thank you.
No problem.
Steve, Chris Harvey from STV up in Aberdeen here. Hello, thanks for this.
No problem.
I mean, the Rovers are concerned, just especially to make me feel a bit more homesick. It's parochial for me, so apologies, but you maybe appreciate it as a Welshman. Scotland haven't had so many players in the British and Irish Lions squad for some years until now. How are they getting on in game and in training? Are they more than holding their own?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think it's a very competitive group. Scottish boys, everyone's fitted in, everyone's connected really well, and everyone's pushing each other. So no one feels out of place in around the environment, and in particular the training standards. Obviously, things are slightly different, but no, everyone's adapting and doing really well on and off the field.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Any more for any more? Please jump in. If anyone's got one last question. Okay. Oh, here we go. Yeah, go, Rory.
Hi, Steve.
Hello.
Can I ask you about if the game goes by the wayside, how difficult is that going to make the selection in the end of the day? You've got such a limited time there and such a limited amount of games to make the calls for the test series. How difficult will it make life for US selectors if you lost this game against the Bulls?
I think, look, I think it's only as difficult as you make it. We have to adapt, and what will be. And I think we see the boys training, how they're doing that. Everyone, we'd like to think, would have had a chance to put the sort of name in the hat for the test series. But again, we're watching these boys every day. So I think people can make it more difficult than it is. I think the competition is already going to be difficult because I think the absolute standard of training in around the games, the competition is huge. So I think, look, I don't think it'll make too much of a difference.
Thanks,
Thank
Steve.
you. Thank
Thanks,
you.
everyone.
Thanks, guys.